Welcome aboard, kid. Now available on YouTube.
Hello, Internet, and welcome to the W.A.K cast, the wackest podcast on the Internet. I'm one of your hosts, Fluffy McGruff.
I'm Naboo, that's who.
And I'm Super Symbiote.
And today we're going to be talking about something that I really want to talk about, and that's going to be Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
Hey, Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Let's go.
It's so good. Alex hasn't played it yet.
No, I haven't bought
No,
it
but
yet.
Alex also
try
hasn't played most of the Borderlands.
And
but
sell him on it.
continue.
That's the goal of this podcast, is to sell Alex on Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
Bro,
See,
we couldn't sell him on 3, bro.
I brought this up to
Or
Justin.
2, and 2 is
I
like
said, see
known
what
to be
happened.
the
What
best.
happened was y'all was like, oh, Borderlands. So I played all of the first one, right? And I was like, oh, that was a pretty cool cartoony shooter. And then y'all was like, oh, you got to get the Handsome Jack because we going to play that. So I got Handsome Jack. We played half of it, quit. And then y'all was
Not
like, oh,
even half.
you got to get the Ultimate Borderlands 3. So I got that shit. And we played the first 20 minutes of it and
Bro, you
quit.
just gotta play by yourself.
And then y'all came at me with that.
Gotta be
Y'all hear
about the
Tiny
loot and
Tina's
shoot.
coming out. And I said, great, I'm going to buy it. We're going to play the
Hey.
first intro and we're never going to touch it again.
That's just because our schedules are so off, but that's besides the point. The games are
Really,
so
you just
amazing.
gotta-
even as
just gotta
solo
dive
players,
into
which
it.
I play, like that's what I'm used to, is just playing it by myself. But that's also because I take a ridiculous amount of time to loot stuff. But I'm sure we'll get to
That's
that.
true. I feel like if I was legitimately playing a threat in Borderlands, it would piss me off.
Yeah,
It'd just be so slow.
that's why
Yeah.
we'll delay our run through a bit.
See,
but
that's I'm a Borderlands poser. See, I
It's
like
okay.
the aesthetic
Well-
of Borderlands, but the game itself, I just went through the first one just like, okay, gun, shoot, die. Okay, gun, shoot, die. Ooh, gonna trade my gun, sell some
Well-
stuff, kill this thing.
you know what? This isn't Borderlands, all right. This
But
is
the
Tiny Tina's
comedy-
Wonderlands. This is Bunkers and Badasses, baby.
The comedy in the Borderlands series has always been superb.
and the
Yeah,
voice
and there's a
acting
lot of
is-
that in this one.
Yeah, it's so good.
And honestly, they did really great. So, for those who don't know, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is a game that came out developed by Gearbox Software, the developers of the Borderlands series. It came out on March 25th. To great reviews. Much better reviews than Borderlands 3 received when it came out.
I haven't looked at any of the reviews, but that's good to hear.
No, yeah, a lot of people, especially after they played Borderlands 3, it wasn't the characters that you play as that people were kind of upset about. More so, it was the antagonist. They didn't like Troy and
Right, yeah.
Tyrene, the Calypso twins. They were
But
like
this
streamers. And it's
antagonist
kinda like,
is Will Arnett, and you can't hate Will Arnett, bro.
yeah,
Like,
so that's
voicing
actually
the-
one of the points I want to talk about. One of the
I'm
selling
sorry, yeah,
points I
yeah,
think
yeah.
of this game is the
But-
star-studded cast. So naturally, voice acting in games has gotten better and better as time has progressed, and I think that Tiny Tina's Wonderlands has brought a very vibrant and funny cast together to play these characters. We have actors such as Andy Samberg and Wanda Sykes being constant companions, to your story as you go through the Wonderlands of Tiny Tina's, which of course is based off of Dungeons and Dragons.
Bunkers and Badasses, baby.
And it's called Bunkers and Badasses. It's
Yes.
fucking
I'll
dope.
say
So
that
you're gonna
like
see a
12
lot of
times.
Dungeons and
Get ready.
Dragons references. Like there's like the Dragon Lord, who is the main antagonist, voiced by Will Arnett, who's the same guy
So
who played
good.
Lego Batman.
And he's also the opening monologue of the whole game. You know it's going to be good when Will Arnett is bringing you in.
And then of course,
honestly,
there's also Tiny Tina, who is Alex. That's your girl.
yeah, good old Ashley Birch. One of the best voice actors to ever do it, boys. Shouts out.
So,
Shouts
what
out.
I've noticed is that so this is the first Borderlands game where you create your character too, which is really good, honestly.
Yeah, it
I
was
really
fun.
enjoy
It
a
was
good
lot of
character
fun creating
creator.
it.
I don't know about you, Rhett. You know,
I definitely do. Definitely not to the extent that they usually bring in now. Like I don't really mess around with the nose and the eye depths and like lengths and stuff. I just kind of go through the base stuff. But yeah, it was satisfying. And also
yeah,
I thought just even off the base like armor you kind of get to pick for yourself. They give you a lot of really cool patterns and color designs just to start
yeah,
off, and then you're constantly collecting them throughout. I'm only level 10 right now, I'm just got through the tutorial basically, but I've already got like so much stuff. It's great.
yeah, yeah. Um, this is a game that I saw implement like they had an overdraw on sliders, so you could make like one eye like super big and one small because you could also take symmetry off, and it just put a lot of depth into like how it's made. They also fully voiced like 8 voices for the main protagonist that
Yeah,
you can pick through,
which
and
is
I mean
really
it's
cool.
got good dialogue
I
and it's actually got personality. So I like made my D&D character Sketchy Carl, right? Who's a tiefling, and he's kind of like this cocky like asshole kind of character, and I chose like the intelligent voice and I like dropped the pitch a little bit, and
oh, nice.
it's perfect, and it's
Oh,
got its
that's
own
cool.
personality. It's like got this snarkiness to it, and
Yeah, I didn't play around with pitch at all. I should have done that. I just recently switched voices from the like gallant voice to the like gruff voice or whatever it's called, just because I feel like it matched the character I'm like building more.
yeah. And I mean, just I could talk all day about a good character creator, and Tiny Tina's has a wonderful one. You can make so many different kinds of characters, whatever you want to. Really, it's one of the best games I've seen. It's kind of like clay, and you get to mold it how you see fit. um and I mean, you brought up earlier, Alex, so you said that you played through all of Borderlands 1, correct?
Yeah.
So honestly, in terms of like difficulty, I would say that this actually is more similar to Borderlands 1. Just in terms of challenge, just because I mean it's no lie, like 2 and 3, like you become so godly so fast. And
Yeah,
no one really stands a chance against you once you get into like later levels. And granted, all Borderlands games are like that, but
yeah, and it also
have to
differs
we have
person
to
to
work for
person
it
depending
and
like
get some
how much you
knowledge to do it in this
grind.
one.
You know,
No.
like me right now, taking the time to explore. I'm constantly going back to places to sell all my loot, and then I have to like fight the same enemies. So I'm like higher level than I should be,
Yeah.
pretty
Well, that's the
consistently.
cool thing too, is that the enemies level with you in this game. So you
Well,
will
damn it.
never be too high of a level. And they kind of did that same thing like in Borderlands 3, where they had the cooperative play or the competitive play. So it could be if you share the loot, or if you really have to take the loot, everybody fend for themselves. So you can definitely change the difficulty. I do appreciate that, but I like that it's a little bit more challenging than Borderlands 3 was.
So far, I feel like I've been kind of coasting by. This most recent boss battle was like, I feel like maybe a little tough, but I also didn't go down. So like, but again, I'm spending ridiculous amounts of time finding loot. So I might just be a little OP right now.
No, yeah. And I mean, you brought up getting those dice, and like, yeah, that boosts your luck. I think a
Yeah.
big problem that people had with 3 as well was that you would get a legendary like every like 10 minutes, something. And it kind of takes the challenge out when you're
Right.
getting so many like legendary weapons. In this one, like I've gotten maybe 3, I want to say. I've gotten a lot
I
of
don't even
purple
know if
herbs,
I've gotten one. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of purple and blue.
but I haven't really gotten any legendary weapons. But the dice affect your RNG. So the more dice you get, the luckier loot that you have. So it's one of those things where if you're cool with legendaries being like super rare things that you really have to grind for to get, don't find the die. If you do, find all the die and you'll get more legendaries. So that's pretty neat. But it's aggravating as fuck to find all of those fucking dies.
I find it nice. I enjoy the hunt.
Yeah, some of them are in such stupid fucking places. There's one. There's one. I'm gonna just let the whole audience know about it right now. There's one in Brighthoof, all right, that's behind a gate. A bunch of shit has to go down before you can actually access that shit. And it's just there. And it seems like you can get it, but nah, you've got to advance in the story. Which brings me to another point I want to talk about with Tiny Tina Wonderlands. So Borderlands pretty much invented the looter shooter, you know? Um, and that's what Borderlands and that company has done for their previous 3 installments. This game is really the first, like in the Borderlands kind of universe, to pull in not only massive RPG elements, but also Metroidvania elements.
True, and that kind of almost I can't think of what it is, but I mean honestly a little bit of Pokemon with the like
Yeah,
random encounters in the grass.
yeah,
That's
But
interesting.
it is also just D&D in general and like moving across the land and finding those random encounters and random loot.
and then there's a lot of areas that you can't access until you progress to a certain point and get like an item or an object to actually move forward. So I mean, for people that are playing, if you're seeing a bunch of stuff and you're like, oh my god, how do I get to this, don't stress it, like keep it moving. There, it'll all make
Yeah,
sense
that's the
eventually.
problem. That's the problem I'm coming across right now.
Yeah,
I'm
so don't
trying to
stress it. Like, you're gonna
get
figure
through.
out what that's for. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, and then you're gonna go back and do it, you know. But it's a great game overall. I think everyone, should give it some time. I think it should get at least maybe contender for game of the year. It won't.
It might. It will definitely be up for action game like the Borderlands, like Borderlands 3. I think Borderlands 3 was up for game of the year, but it was also up for like action game.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
it'll probably get that like
But
action
it's great.
RPG,
If
something that
if you like the
will
Borderlands
go
style and
up
you like the
as well.
Borderlands comedy, this script is very well written with Andy Samberg, Wanda Sykes, and Will Arnett, and there is constant material between all 3 of them, and then you really get to create your own character, and it doesn't really impact like the actual Borderlands universe. So it's really just got so much creativity that you can dump into
Yeah,
it and
it's
just make it your
fantasy
own
land.
thing.
It's all Tiny Tina's mind.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I don't think you've gotten into it yet, but there is like some nuances where the Dragon Lord is going to start talking about like her and what she does to this world. And like,
Yeah,
it's like, ooh.
that hasn't happened yet, but the Dragon Lord, I am at the point where the Dragon Lord, and spoilers for anyone who hasn't played, but he fucking murdered the queen.
Yeah, dude, that one hit me,
Queen,
bro. When he cut fucking, ah, Alex, I'm sorry you're about to get spoiled for this, but Stallion
Of course.
dies.
Butt
No
Stallion
way.
dead.
I know, it's horrible,
Anyone who's played
man.
the second game and what
It's
third game,
crazy.
honestly, just you know who Butt Stallion is, and they killed the queen. That was wild. But yeah, he
Long
hasn't
live the
started talking
queen.
about any of this crazy rebellious stuff. But either way, we got to get vengeance for Butt Stallion.
Yeah.
Damn,
And I
tragic.
really dig like the magic theme that this thing has going on. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of character you want to play, you're gonna have access to magic either way. And there's so
Yeah,
much
it's
of it.
really cool.
But yeah, but talking about this, I kind of just also want to bring up, the Borderlands movie is still slated to come out this year. Um,
Hey, let's
we've
go.
gotten a couple more confirmed appearances. We got Scooter and Ellie appearing in the movie.
Oh, nice.
They have casts now.
Damn.
Um,
Does it say
Hammerlock,
who?
Jacobs, the Atlas, we've got some more side characters coming into light. So hopefully, it's good. Also, Penn from Penn and Teller
Oh Lord.
is confirmed on the cast list, and he actually played himself in the Borderlands franchise. So
That's
we
always
might
what
see
they
that
say.
character in the movie.
That's
Oh
pretty
Lord.
hilarious.
Macy
So I'm sure it'll
Carnivora.
be a funny little bit
Yeah, that'll be
if he's
nice to
not
the
just
fans.
a bounty hunter or some crazy shit. That's cool. I'm definitely gonna see it. Like, bad or not, like I think it's worth seeing in
Yeah,
theaters. I
hopefully it
think
doesn't bite
it'll
off
be
too
fun.
much. I would like to see it actually like develop these characters, just throwing 1,000 references at us.
Hopefully, I just leave and I'm like, damn, I want to play Borderlands now. Like that's the best
True.
it could do.
I
But
mean,
yeah, Borderlands
yeah.
2 or Borderlands the movie coming out this year. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands released already. Pick it up, $60.
Get it?
And
You can play it with friends
hopefully,
or by yourself and hoard all the loot.
and that brings us to this week's Fluffs Fumbles.
Loves fumbles.
All right, so the fumble this week happens to be that E3 is canceled.
Oh,
Who guessed
Jesus.
it?
Oh
That's right. The
no.
organizers behind E3 did cancel not only the live performance, but also the digital performance. It's just not happening this year.
Yeah,
They
that's
did state
sucks.
that they were going to do a reinvigorated performance in 2023, but due to the cancellation, so many fans are disappointed and they've lost a lot of backing from producers that it may be the end for the entire ceremony uh, to, forever.
That's trash.
Yeah, that really sucks. Cause
Yeah. So
while
E3,
like I get a lot of companies are doing their own like showcases every now and then, like
it's
E3
true,
is
and
just
that's
one
probably
of those
something
things
that
gamers, the gaming community had to like come together and be excited about. Everybody from the gaming community, not just the specific branches.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that probably impacted whether or not E3 was going to come back or not. Because I mean, there's the Nintendo Direct, there's the Sony Showcase. You know, um, I don't remember if Microsoft has one or not, but I feel like they have something
Yeah,
similar.
they do.
And honestly, now even some game companies like do their own events where they just show everything that they're gonna do,
Yeah.
like Ubisoft. And so that probably definitely impacted the fact they were like, do we
Yeah.
really need to do E3? In fact, they probably have so many people drop out, they just can't fucking fund it anymore.
That would be
I mean, if you
tragic.
lost Nintendo,
Yeah.
Sony, and Microsoft, and they're like your main three, it's like,
I mean that well, and then there's also already indie showcases happening, so you don't even have like I just wish the companies would see that it was for a greater good to all come together and have a big event, you know?
Yeah. Now
yeah.
they're doomed.
But
But
this
we
is
can hope for the
probably,
best,
I mean,
right?
just the wave of the future is all these independent companies. I mean, DC has their own event, Marvel's probably gonna end up having an event. Um,
Oh yeah, I'm
or
certain
slash
Marvel is
Disney.
gonna make an event exactly like the event that they created in the Avengers game. The whole
Yeah.
opening to the
Avengers
Avengers
Day.
game. I'm sure they want Avengers Day. The second that hover boots become available, they're gonna be like, cool, get us an Iron Man, get us a Thor.
And then some
Let's do
super
it.
genius will
Avengers Day is
actually
happening.
hijack it and terrorize the city.
Oh,
It'll be great, dude. The
speaking
profit.
speaking of this, while we're on the subject of Marvel fumbles, this one's actually funny. It just popped in my head. So I kept showing everybody that really cool Spider-Man robot at the Disney theme park that would do all the like high tower flips and stuff, and it looked like a real person. Yeah, he finally just he don't stick the landing as good anymore. There's a video going around of Tom Holland's voice announcing the robot flying into the air, and then it just splats on the side of the building, and all these kids start freaking out.
Nice. And that actually reminded me there is another fumble that I wanted to talk
Oh, that's
about
great.
this week.
Traumatized.
And that is Morbius.
Oh,
Ooh, yikes.
It
I had
wasn't
just
good.
heard
now
nothing
we
good.
must state
Nothing good.
we must state before any
We-
hate has come, the movie, as the filming of this episode, the movie has not been out long.
It's not been out long, and also none of us have seen it.
Yeah, we
But
have
we've
not had
seen
the
the
chance.
reviews,
Of
and
course,
they don't make me want to see it.
I mean,
You
of
know,
course,
when it's free, eventually, sure.
I have to see it. I don't know if I'll spend money, but I have to just see it. You know.
I mean, bottom line, there was a lot of cut content from the movie. A lot.
Yeah.
The amount of CGI that goes into Jared Leto's performance is staggering. And that is where the budget of that movie went.
Yeah.
Yo, the use
Totally.
of CGI is killing films, and they just aren't learning that lesson.
Fucking, it got a whopping 16% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oof.
And fans and critics alike
Bad.
just do not like this movie whatsoever, calling it a bigger insult than Ryan Reynolds' first portrayal as Deadpool.
Oh my gosh. Shout out.
Yeah, I did see a good comparison meme of Ryan Reynolds with his not only his Deadpool for Marvel, but then his Green Lantern for DC, and now Jared Leto has Morbius for Marvel
And
and
Joker.
his Joker for DC, and it's like, all right, well, third time's the charm, maybe, but
Right.
I don't think so.
I'm kind of sad.
I don't think that redemption arc's coming for Jared Leto.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
everybody's just kind of sick of Jared Leto now.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
after the
I
Joker
mean,
stuff, like, meh,
he's like an
yeah,
average
meh,
Joker.
yeah,
Yeah.
meh.
Meh.
He's like a pop culture
Mm.
Joker. And yeah, I'm kind of sad that Morbius did bad because like he's like a Spider-Man villain, and I really like Spider-Man. And I was excited to see like kind of a lower name villain get some light, but it's clear that Blade is going to be the successful vampire Marvel franchise.
I hope.
Because Disney's gonna fucking kill
We
that
can only hope,
Yeah, we can only hope.
you know, because they're not always, you know, doing well trying to remake these early '90s phenomenons, '80s, '90s.
Yeah.
They're gonna kill it, man. I have so much faith. And the actor that they chose as Blade,
Yeah.
that's
Bro,
honestly
the
all I
thing
really know
is
about
the
them.
actors aren't the problem these days. It's the writers, man. You need to tell me who the writers are, because that's where these shows are dying.
Well,
You know,
I'm pretty sure Marvel has Blade this time. And Marvel's going to stay true to the comics and appeal to the darker side of the Marvel comics to bring in those characters and do some Midnight Sun
Yeah,
shit.
because they're gonna make Blade a
hopefully.
part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like the Avengers
Midnight
shit.
Remember,
Suns.
it's all under the Disney umbrella, though,
Yeah,
because Blade's got to be family friendly too.
Well, they already
not
got Moon Knight, and they
everything they do is
Oh,
family.
that's
Moon
true. I
Knight's
haven't seen
got
Moon Knight yet, and that could be pretty nuts.
Moon
But
Knight's got some ties to Werewolf by Night, who is also an original member of the Midnight Suns.
Right. And we already know that Deadpool is being brought in, like Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool and the Thundercats.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna stay
I
ultra family
forgot about
friendly
that.
for very long.
The Thunderbirds. He said Deadpool and the Thundercats.
Thundercats.
It's the
Thundercats, yeah,
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbirds.
The
Thundercats.
Thunderbolts.
Oh.
The Thunder fucking bolts. That's what it is. Okay.
Also, like in Avengers 2, didn't like people like die and
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah. People got
They
murked in
just
them
dusted
Avengers
away for
movies,
5 years,
bro.
and then they came back.
Nah, there was people in all
Except
the
for
Avengers movies that got murked up.
Right.
I'm telling you.
yes,
Except for that one dude when T'Challa was like, "The living are not done with you yet," and
Yeah. Baron
choked him
Zemo
out.
made it. He
I mean,
made
God,
yeah,
it.
I
people
loved him as
die,
Black
but
Panther.
like, is Blade just people dying, or is he like
Vampires.
gore, like hella, like creepy vampire?
Well,
Like,
so the added benefit of Blade is that in the comics too, like when he kills vampires, they burst into flames.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
So like you can
Okay.
avoid a lot of gore with bursting
but
into
what
flames.
about the vampires
Yeah.
eating people, man? How
Not the
gory?
vampires eating people. They're gonna save their blood for that part.
Look. I'm just gonna say this right now for anybody that gives a shit and has a Disney Plus. All right, Moon Knight has proved already in one episode that Disney will show you the brutality you want from the characters
right.
you expect.
All right. I stand
It's
corrected
coming.
then. I gotta see
It's
Moon Knight,
coming.
but
We're gonna have a darker
sounds
Marvel
good.
coming. They're getting
Moon
into their
Knight.
scarier
I'm surprised
characters.
we're not doing a Moon Knight episode,
Moon
honestly.
Knight
But
episode 1 is extremely violent. I will
I
point
want
that out.
more of Moon Knight to come out before we dedicate to a Moon Knight episode.
sure, we could do it at the end of the season. Get excited for that WAK cast. Maybe we'll do a Moon Knight
Yeah,
when the season
Yeah,
finishes.
let us
and we'll
know.
just
we
do a
have
recap.
to. I would love that.
All right. So yeah, let us know if there's any other topics that you want to discuss with us. You know, we got a comment section, we got Facebook, we got Twitter.
Yeah.
What's up?
all
Hit us
Come
up.
at
the
us.
goodies.
Let us know if
Subscribe.
you're excited
hit
about
that
Tiny Tina's
notification bell.
Wonderland.
You know, we on Spotify. You can watch us on Anchor. People are watching that again for some reason.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't.
Wherever you
But-
listen.
You know where we are. We're the WAK Cast. I've been one of your hosts, Fluff McGruff.
I'm Naboo that too.
And I'm Super Symbiote.
Fucking deuces, y'all.
Have a good
Deuces.
night.
Have a good day. Have a great day. Now that's a whack production.